What's up, guys?
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? So, Beauty and the Beast,
Kong
Skull Island, Logan,
Episode 8, Last Jedi
The
teaser
best
trailer.
love letters to Hollywood that we've
This
ever
film
seen.
is a masterpiece. So, until the next time, goodbye. What's up, guys? King Arthur, Legend of the Sword is directed by Guy Ritchie, who's directed some of my favourite films in the past, such as Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, and also his 2 Sherlock Holmes films. He has a very unique, stylistic way of reinterpreting classic stories, as he did with the 2 Sherlock Holmes films, so I was interested to see what he would do with the classic King Arthur story, and we all know the story. King Arthur, he takes the sword from the stone, he has to rise up, reclaim his birthright from the evil king of Camelot, and discover who he is. It's the classic hero's journey, and in this film, Arthur is played by Charlie Hunnam, and the evil king Vortigern, who is the main villain of the film, is played by Jude Law. And going into this film, I was relatively excited, although it hadn't received very good reviews, and I'm still surprised at how poor the reviews for this film have been. They've been quite scathing, but it's really not that bad, but it does have a few flaws. But I'll start with the things that I liked about the film. So I really like Guy Ritchie's style of writing and directing. It's very quick cut, editing, fast paced, and he writes really good, witty banter. So some of my favourite scenes in the film were the quippy lines between Arthur and his friends, and there are 3 writers in the film, and you can tell when Guy Ritchie's writing it because those are the best moments in the film, and there are some actually really funny moments in the film. So Guy Ritchie's writing and directing style is a really good fit for this kind of story. It's fast-paced, and there are funny characters and fast, witty lines, so you can really tell that it's a Guy Ritchie film. The first 10 minutes of the film are actually really good. It sets up the conflict between the hero and villain. It shows how our hero came to be, where he's going to be in the rest of the film, and I was really locked in for the first 10 minutes. There's a really cool battle scene with some huge elephants and lots of magic, and it's really entertaining for the first 10 minutes. I was locked in and interested to see where the rest of the story would go. But where it did go, it was a bit sluggish and also a bit boring in some moments. The final act does pick up after that second act, and we finally get some of the thunderous action and magic and spectacle and all that good stuff that we were hoping for in the previous parts of the film, but we didn't really get. So the final act really does deliver on the cool magic stuff, but the rest of the film before that is a bit tedious in some places. The performances all around are actually really good. Charlie Hunnam got really jacked for this film, and he looked really good. He really fit the part for this film, but I think the script let him down. His character was a bit underwritten, and he does what he can with the role, and he fits the role nicely. Jude Law is also very good as the villain. Again, his character is thinly written, and they don't really set up the conflict between the hero and the villain like they should, but Jude Law actually has some very good dramatic moments, and in those moments it really kicks you because Jude Law really sells the conflict that he has as a villain. So as for the things I liked about the film, the performances are mostly all around very good. Guy Ritchie's style of directing and his writing as well, the funny, quippy lines, and the overall action, when there is that kind of action, and there isn't enough of it, that magic, over-the-top, thunderous action that I really wanted to see. So that's all the good stuff. Now let's move on to the things that I didn't really like about the film. After that impressive and really promising first 10 minutes, the film falls into a rut and gets really sluggish and a bit boring in some places. And that doesn't change until the final showdown at the end, in the final act. A fair few of the action scenes are incomprehensible. The editing style, it cuts the scenes together in a way where you can't really see what's going on. And there are some really good action scenes, but they're too few and far between. Some of the action scenes you just can't tell what's going on at all. And there are major script issues. You can definitely tell where Ritchie is writing, because those are the best parts of the film, but the rest of it, there is too much exposition. There are some scenes where characters are literally explaining the past and elements of the plot that we need to know, but we can't actually experience them. So we see them through flashbacks with narration over the top, and that's not experiencing it. That's lazy script writing. There are many times when characters literally stand there talking to Arthur, explaining the lore and the backstory of all of this world, and that brings me to my next point. There is so much lore and mythology in this story, and they try to cram it all into this 2-hour film. I think it really would have been better off a bit longer, maybe 2.5 hours, but the film does feel rushed in many places. For example, the crucial scene where Arthur finds out that he is King Arthur when he pulls Excalibur from the stone that scene doesn't feel as climactic and epic as it should, because the events leading up to it haven't set up Arthur as a strong character, and also it feels so rushed it doesn't have as much impact as it should. And that happens frequently throughout the film, so the entire film does come off feeling a bit rushed, and it doesn't give us enough emotional investment in the characters. Also, in this archetypal hero's journey, in this kind of hero story, there has to be some kind of change for the main character. All good heroes start off at one point and finish as a changed man for the better at the end of the film. But there is never a breaking point moment for Arthur in this film. There is never that moment of despair where he physically has to change something about his ways for the better, where he figures out that what he's doing is wrong, or something about himself changes and he has to go on with the rest of the story as a changed man. There is never that breaking point moment. His character is basically a cocky, arrogant guy who says some really funny one-liners, and he's physically impressive, but that isn't really a very well fleshed out character. There isn't much depth to any of the characters really, and again, that doesn't give us much to latch onto in regards to emotional investment. And despite having the conflict between the hero and the villain, between Charlie Hunnam's Arthur and Jude Law's Vortigern, set up in the beginning of the film, it doesn't follow through with that conflict. It's never really elaborated upon, and the two characters hardly ever meet, so there isn't as much emotional investment in that final confrontation between the two men. The film also feels a bit derivative, because there are many elements that simply by looking at them you can tell that that's like Lord of the Rings, that's like Game of Thrones, that's like any other fantasy film we've seen. It has a tough time establishing itself as a new original fantasy film. There are many aspects like the magic and the towers and all of that feel derivative like we've seen them before, which we have. But still, there is enjoyment to be had in King Arthur Legend of the Sword, but there are script issues, character issues, some of the editing for the action scenes is pretty bad, and there are all-round flaws that can be fixed, and they're planning a 5-film franchise for this King Arthur series, and as a first film, it could have been better. It does have serious flaws, but I liked it, but it does have problems that must be pointed out. But overall, it is entertaining. I'm going to give King Arthur Legend of the Sword a C+. I think with a better script for the future installments, this series could have potential. But as for this film, it does have flaws. It passes the time. It's an amiable, entertaining film that I liked. So, there are my thoughts on Guy Ritchie's King Arthur Legend of the Sword. What did you think? Like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do. Also, what did you think of my new intro? Once again, massive thanks to my good friend over at Aperture Editing. He does really cool edits, any kind of edit, so go check out his channel, definitely. He made this new intro. Let me know if you like it in the comments below, and until the next time, goodbye.